A Moving and Renting Guide. Chapter 1. Renting a place. Why rent rather than buying a house? Almost nobody is certain they will have the same job or the same business they have now in 20 years. Anything could happen. When you default on a mortgage, it doesn't matter how much equity you have built up in the house. It's all gone. I say either buy the cheapest house you can or save your money until you've got the cash to fork over either the full price or 80% the cost of the house and pay the loan off quickly. On top of that, the housing market is volatile. You can buy a house now, the price of all houses go down in the next 5 years, so what you owe on the house is more than the house is worth. It's called being underwater. Moving info. You need basic stuff like bath and bed, medicine cabinet / first aid kit, clothing, computer, tech gadgets, school stuff, kitchen stuff, food items, truck or something to move stuff, transportation, car, bus, etc. Personal stuff, entertainment, sports. It's best not to rent a place unseen. You can always spend a few nights at some cheap hotel on the edge of town, buy a newspaper or go to the local college website to the housing or rental section. Drive your car or get it shipped. If it's a cheap car and you're going far, get rid of it, buy another cheap car when you get there. Don't buy much stuff for the apartment like furniture, home decor, etc. Most of it means nothing. Rental websites. 1. Rent apartments and houses or find a roommate to share a place with. Apartmentlist.com. Summerinternships.com/Boston/intern-housing, Boston Summer Internship Housing. Hotpads.com, Hotpads. Internhousing.com/CampusKit, internhousing.com. MyCheapApartments.com, MyCheapApartments. NYU.edu/housing/summer, New York University Department of Housing. OrlandoInterns.com, Orlando Area Student Intern Society, Oasis. Rent.com, Rent.com. StudentHousing.org, Student Intern Housing in New York City. TuftsInternhousing.tufts.edu, Tufts Intern Housing. MakingTheDifference.org/federalinternship/djosingguide.html, Washington, D.C. Housing Guide. InternsDC.com, Washington Intern Student Housing. Zillow.com, Zillow. Apartments.com. Rent.com. Rent-index.com. SpringStreet.com/apartments, database of apartments for rent in the U.S. and Canada. Agreements etc.com, online rental agreement. TenantsUnion.org, Tenants Union, resources nationwide. American-Apartment-Owners-Association.org. Rental websites. 247apartments.com. 411-realestate.com. allapartments.com. apartmentcities.com. apartmentfinder.com. apartmentguide.com. apartmentime.com. apartment-listings.com. apartmenttradings.com. apartment-rental.net. apartmentrentalinfo.com. apartmentreviews.net. thebalancecareers.com. apartments.com. apartmentsearch.com. apartmentsforrent.bz. appfinder.org. appguides.com. appline.com. apptradings.com. apptrentals.com. aptsforrent.com. biz-stay.com, short-term apartment rentals. bridgestreet.com, 800-278-7338. BuySellTrading.com. CHTApartments.com. CityLeases.com. Classifieds2000.com. CLeanTelevision.com/index.php/realestate/rentinganApartment.html. Craigslist.com. CTS.com/browse/apptonvid. cyberrentals.com. Rental websites 3. e-apartments.us. easyroommate.com. fairhousinglaw.org. flatster.net. furrent.com. furrent2.com. freelists.com. freerentalfinder.com. homesforrent.net. homestae.com, list campus housing offices plus apartments. jdsuper.com, when renting an apartment in Chicago. landlord.com. law.cornell.edu/topics/landlord_tenant.html. leasehouston.com/apartments.html. metroroommates.com. michiganhousinglocator.com. nationalroommates.com. nofee.com, New York City Apartments. newyorkhabitat.com, New York City. ohiolandlordtenant.com. olr.com, NYC. onlineapartmentguide.com. placesforstudents.com, landlords advertise their rental properties to post-secondary students. openapts.com, Boston. placesforrent.com. rent.com. rent.net. rentcanada.com. rentedspaces.com. rentlaw.com. rentnet.com. rentometer.com, average rent costs. rioservices.com. residenceseriening.com, 301-881-3400, database used by landlords to screen tenants. roel.org/rental/ltlaw.htm number sign us, landlord tenant law. roommates.com. roommatesforyou.com. roommateservice.com. room-roommate.com. roomster.net. searchcollegehousing.com, off-campus housing options for students, faculty, and staff. servicesroommate.com. SoShares.com, North Carolina. springstreet.com/apartments. sublet.com. tenant.net, tenants organization. ubinspan.com. vacaansinet.com. washingtonpost.com/wpatv/classified/rentals/dcfaq.htm. publications.usa.gov. Free booklet, Wise Rental Practices. American Bar Association. 750 North Lakeshore Drive. Chicago, Illinois 60611. 800-621-6159. abanet.org. Landlords and Tenants Guide. National Housing Law Project. NHLP.org. Renters insurance websites. Most places that sell home insurance sell renters insurance. Renters insurance usually covers these things. 1. Personal property in the unit. 2. Liability in case someone gets injured on your property and sues you. 3. Medical payments coverage if someone gets injured on the property. 4. Catastrophic coverage if something happens, the building is unlivable and you need a new place to live. best-free-insurance-quotes.com/renters-insurance.html. To insure for less.com. allstate.com. answerfinancial.com. budget-quotes.com. einsure.com. fostrate.org. findinsurancecompany.com. findinsurance.us. findlowinsurance.com. geico.com. getfreeinsurancequotes.com. getrontersinsurance.com. homains.org. ingenuitycorp.com. insuranceguide101.com. insurance-quotes-online.com. insureamerica.com. insuredhomeusa.com. myhometownagency.com. netquote.com. quoteforiinsurance.com. quotematch.com. quotemonster.com. rentersinsuranceHQ.com. statefund.net. usinsuranceonline.com. wellsfargo.com. Chapter 2. A legal guide for renting a house or apartment. Renting an apartment legal issues. 1. Apartment rental services that charge a fee are generally a waste of money. You should be able to find what you want simply by looking in the newspaper and driving around the area you're interested in looking for vacancy signs. Landlords generally aren't responsible for your property if you're burglarized. Consider buying some kind of renter's insurance. A lease is a contract between the landlord and tenant which conveys to the tenant not the ownership of the property but the right to occupy it for a certain period of time. The term may be month by month where you pay as you go with no long-term commitment, or the landlord may want you to sign a lease for a specific period of time, usually a year, wherein you commit yourself legally to paying monthly payments on the place as long as the landlord keeps it a decent place to live. In general, landlords provide renters with a warranty of habitability, meaning that your house or apartment will be safe and livable within normal, reasonable standards. You, as the tenant, have the right of quiet enjoyment, meaning that the place must be a reasonably stress-free, peaceful place to live. If anything breaks or needs repair, the landlord must do it in a reasonable amount of time, otherwise the terms of the lease are broken and you are free to leave without penalty of debt. Both landlords and tenants have some rights within the rental agreement. Leases are generally biased in favor of the landlord in any rental agreement. If you don't want to be caught off guard, you should take the time to read the lease before you sign it, and if there's something you don't like, you should bring it up with the landlord and try to amend it. For instance, most leases release the landlord from any liability should you be injured on the property. Things to watch out for before you sign the lease are: under what conditions can the lease be broken? What kind of insurance, if any, goes with the rental unit? Does the lease prohibit you from conducting business from your home? What about children? Overnight visitors? How many? Parties? Pets? Do you have the right to cancel the lease? Can you sublet the unit? What about rent increases? What about renewal after the expiration of this one? What about fire protection? What about my desire to decorate and make changes as I see fit? Can someone like a new lover move in with me? What about repairs and maintenance? What about the security deposit? How do I get it back? If the building is sold, will I be evicted? Is there something complicated in the lease that I don't quite understand? Renting an apartment legal issues. 2. If the landlord isn't willing to work with you with your minor quirks up front, then maybe you're better off moving on before you get tied into something you don't really want. Try to resolve any problems with the landlord first. If that doesn't work, go to your local tenancies rights organization and get counsel from them. If you have to go to court, many municipalities across the country have landlord-tenant courts, which are the legal equivalent of small claims courts, such that you can proceed in a relatively informal manner without the necessity of hiring a lawyer. If that doesn't work out, you can always file a claim in small claims court. If the landlord is a slum landlord with dirty units, complain to both your local housing board and health board. If it borders on criminality, go to the state attorney's office and then to the media. Generally, if you break something like a window or the sink gets plugged up, you're responsible for your own repairs, except if it's a machine or appliance that just breaks down. A landlord is responsible for normal care of the premises, and you can sue him in the event that you suffer injury due to something negligent on his part on the property. If there's something such as loose boards on the steps and you get injured, you can sue the landlord if you meet the following conditions. 1. That the landlord had a legal duty to maintain the building or to make repairs and he breached that duty. 2. That your landlord knew or with reasonable care should have known of the condition which caused the injury. 3. That you suffered personal injury or property damage as a result of the landlord's negligence. 4. That the injury or property damage was a reasonable foreseeable result of the landlord's negligence. The tenant doesn't have to prove that the landlord knew about the defect that caused his injury, only that he should have known and done something about it. The landlord has the duty to maintain the common parts of an apartment building like a lobby, elevators, etc. If you sublet your apartment, Use common sense. Tell the landlord beforehand and get someone responsible to rent it. The most common complaint in renting is that the landlord decides to keep the security deposit without a justifiable reason. The only way he's allowed to keep it is in the event of damage beyond normal wear and tear and unpaid rent. If this is not the case and the landlord won't return your deposit, you have the right to sue him in small claims court. If the landlord decides to keep your security deposit, he's required to send a letter by certified mail within 30 days explaining the reasons why and the repair bills. Then you can fight him in court if you want to. If you want to fight your landlord on anything, check to see if there's a local tenants organization in your town that can help you out. The Fair Housing section of the Civil Rights Act prohibits discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin in either the sale or rental of housing. If you feel you have been discriminated against in the area of housing, you have 180 days to file a complaint with HUD, HUD.gov. They will investigate and try to reconcile the problem. If they can't reconcile it, they will help you with a lawsuit against the perpetrator. Contact Housing Discriminations Hotline. HUD 451 7th Street Southwest, Washington, D.C. 20410-5500, 800-424-8590. HUD.gov. Call if you've been discriminated against while shopping for a place to live. Renting an apartment legal issues 3. A landlord is not allowed to take possession of your personal property if you haven't paid the rent. A landlord can't shut off your heat or lock you out just because you don't pay rent. The first step in an eviction proceeding is for the landlord to send you a notice to quit, otherwise known as a dispossess action. This is not an eviction notice, rather a notice telling you that he intends to take action. If you want to stay in the residence, you should contact a tenants' rights organization, or an attorney/legal aid service and prepare your case. The next step will be for either him or an agent of the court to serve you with a summons. You can then take it up with him, such as pay the rent if that's the problem, or go to court to argue the case. The landlord has the right to evict you if you fail to pay the rent within the specified time after it's due, if you violate any other agreement in the lease, if your lease contains a cancellation clause that he has invoked, or if state law otherwise allows him to terminate the lease by proper notice. However, many judges are more sympathetic than this and will give you a chance to pay the rent within a specified period of time and otherwise give you some time before you have to move out. A tenant can sometimes nullify the eviction process by showing proof that the landlord has not provided essential services and/or violated some sections of the housing codes. In such cases, judges typically suspend a hearing and require that the landlord fix the place up before the tenant pays him the rent. If you vacate before the lease is up, the landlord has the right to sue you for the balance unless he has not made an effort to try to rent the place out, or you can prove that he has deprived you of a decent, nice place to live in some manner, like excessive noise, no hot water, etc., roaches, etc. Legally, you're liable for the actual money he loses by you moving out. So if someone moves in a month after you moved out but there was still 6 months on the lease, you legally owe the landlord 1 month's rent. Eviction if the landlord defaults on mortgage. You shouldn't be evicted if you're a good tenant, but the law states that a new landlord can raise the rent dramatically or evict you if they want to. NLIHC.org, the National Low Income Housing Coalition. nlihc.org/doc/state-foreclosure-chart.pdf, the National Low Income Housing Coalition chart for tenant protection in every state. Tenant organizations. Sometimes tenants in large apartment complexes or in a part of a city choose to organize to protect their interests. For more information about tenants organizations, you could contact the following tenants organizations: Tenant.net, Tenants Organization. SayCollegeMove.com. California Housing Action Network. 2004 Foothill, Oakland, California 94601. Metropolitan Tenants Organization. 109 and Dearborn, Chicago, Illinois 60602. Shelter Force. 380 Main Street, E. Orange, New Jersey 07018. National Tenants Organization, 1025 15th Street Northwest, 5th FL, Washington, C 20005, 202-783-0711. Landlord-tenant law/rental law websites. Rentlaw.com, landlord-tenant law for all 50 states. Consumerist.com/consumer/renting/landlord +tenant-for-every-state-3299945.php. ago.mo.gov/publications/landlord-tenant.htm, Missouri. Agreements etc.com, online rental agreement. Apartmentrentalinfo.com. cmu.edu/policies/landlord-tenant, legal aspects of renting an apartment. n.wikipedia.org/wiki/landlord_law_and_multihousing_report, covers federal and state court decisions and HUD rulings on public, assisted, senior and disabled housing. ext.colorado.state.edu/pub/consumer/09905.html, renting, evictions and landlord liens. Fairhousing.com, Fair Housing Advocate. Fairhousinglaw.org. howtodothings.com/realestate/a3337 howtoleaseproperty.html. hg.org/landlord.html. jud.state.ct.us/law/lib/law/landlord.htm, Connecticut. Landlord.com. Landlord.com/legalmain.htm. Landlordandtenant.org. Landlordlaw.blogspot.com. Landlordlaw.co.uk, Britain. Landlordlaw.com, the practice of commercial and residential landlord representation. Landlordlawfirm.com. Landlordlawyers.com. law.cornell.edu/topics/landlord_tenant.html. law.justanswer.com/rent. law.loino.edu, Louisiana. lawlib.state.ma.us/landlord.html, Massachusetts law about landlord and tenant. laws.uslandlord.com. mrlandlord.com, landlord-tenant law links. nalo.com/resource.cfm. osbar.org/public/legalinfo/tenant.html. rentlaw.com. roel.org/rental/ltlaw.htm number sign us, landlord-tenant law. tenant-rights.net, California landlord-tenant law. thelpa.com, the Landlord Protection Agency. Virginia landlord-tenant-law.com. wa.gov/ago/consumer/lt/home.html, Attorney General of Washington, landlord/tenant law. wsba.org/media/publications/pamphlets/landlord-tenant.htm. Publications.usa.gov. Free booklet, Wise Rental Practices. American Bar Association. abanit.org. Landlords and Tenants Guide. National Housing Law Project. nhlp.org. Chapter 3. Young people moving out of parents' house. Living with roommates or alone. I lived in a military dorm, then I rented houses with other guys. It's fine for a while, but I eventually realized everybody's a thief, even if just a minor thief of food. People don't respect your stuff, and if you got cash and have more than one roommate with others visiting the house, it's very easy for anyone to steal it, then point the finger at the next guy. People just take whatever they feel like from the fridge, be it cold pizza or a case of beer. Naive people reading this probably think I'm cynical and jaded. If you think that, you have not lived in the real world with people. Besides that, everybody is always in your face, wanting to know your business, and your roommates often feel lonely, so they come to you because they want you to waste your time being aimless with them. I would only live with others now if I was desperate for money and needed a cheap place to live. Other than that, there's no way I want roommates, but when you're young, it's a great way to learn about people in general. In some college housing, like for freshmen, they still put two people in the same room. I'm not talking same apartment unit, I'm talking room. You can't masturbate in peace. It's a big deal because every young person is horny. Surveys show that half of all college students report tension with their roommates. If you ever share a room with somebody in a college dorm who you're not having sex with, it will be a horrible experience. Having roommates where everybody has their own room is fine. Personally, I think the best arrangement is to have your own apartment. It doesn't matter how small it is. It's all yours to do what you want in peace. Roommates will probably bug you in one way or another. A friend of mine was a serious guy who answered an ad and moved in with 3 slackers. I told him to stay at the library till midnight then go home, which is what he did to avoid their slacker lifestyle, but it was a sacrifice for him. He couldn't study while relaxed at home because his roommates were there drinking, talking, and being frivolous. It's fun to meet new people, but everyone is a pig when you get up close to them, which is why I recommend personal space. If you have roommates, try real hard to respect their differences from you. Make rules right away, like wash your dishes immediately. Don't take the other person's food. The best way to deal with a roommate is to stay out of their way unless they invite contact. If you get roommates you don't like, they might gang up on you. I was outgoing. My 3 roommates stayed home a lot. I got the feeling they were talking about me in the negative. There are full blowout fights. Often there are little games like person X puts their table in the living room where you want open space so you can do sit ups. Then the mind games go from there. If you smoke, you will most certainly offend others. If you drink alcohol, roommates might think you're pathetic and weak. Some people are offended by nudity. Take your shower, walk to your room wearing a towel. Living with friends almost always leads to problems, especially with paying a fair share of the bills and doing a fair share of cleaning. You're under a microscope. Your roommate knows if you don't shower, can probably hear you masturbate, and has probably snuck on your computer looking for porn. Gay roommates are no problem. If you're straight and end up with a gay roommate, most are really cool and will never impose their sexuality onto you. Other people might think you're gay, but so what? Some people are disgusting, loud, or slobs. Either stay away as much as possible or move out. Your roommates might bring their friends in who spend a lot of time there, or they might bring someone in to have sexual relations with. There is a point where these people are invading your rights. Speak up to your roommate. Roommates steal and lie about it? If you have 3 roommates and people come in and out of your place, you will never be able to prove theft, so don't keep anything valuable around, especially cash. People steal identities too. A roommate can get your vital information by looking at your IDs and paperwork. Beer was cheap when I went to the University of Florida. Try to avoid roommates who drink and smoke dope every night. People have all kinds of problems. Avoid getting sucked into their lives. I used to be a good listener because I was curious about life, but now I know that there are needy people who want to waste my time by telling me their problems, which is why I'm not so sociable anymore. Try hashtag 378.198 or LB2343.3 at the library. Rate your college roommates. RateTheRoomie.com, for students in the US. Student housing info. There is limited student housing available on the campus of the college you're attending. There should be some for singles and married couples. It's usually hard to get the housing offered by the college because there's a high demand for it. There are a few fraternities and sororities that provide housing for their members. On U College website, there is usually a housing icon where local landlords and other students put up ads looking to rent places and find roommates. After that, you got the ads in the local newspapers and community websites, including the college newspaper. There are rental websites for everybody, and there are a few national rental websites directed at college students, as I list below. Do an internet search like Student Housing, your city and state. Finally, there are local property managers, often real estate companies, who own or manage a bunch of properties and rent them out. An easy way to find a place is just to drive around the streets within a half-mile of the campus looking for rent signs. Go to the student union building and look for a bulletin board with ads tacked onto it. If you're gay or belong to some minority, go to their college social club to see if they have some rental options. Whatever you do, don't put off housing until the last minute. Go to college a week or two early, stay in a hotel while you look for a place. In the end, saving a few bucks is not worth living in the low-class, high-crime area for. You have to live in a safe area. They sometimes call the area around colleges where lots of students live the student ghetto. These are relatively safe areas to live, but don't rent a place on the poor side of town where there aren't many college students. You'll stick out. People will think you're an easy mark for rape and slash or robbery. Everybody thinks college students have at least a computer and some money. If you're a girl, safety should be your major concern. Don't live on the ground floor of an apartment building. Student housing websites. NakedRoommate.com. MiroOMMATsDriveInGMECrazy.com. Frontpage.okState.edu/co/cp101/roommates.htm, College Prep 101, roommates. ehow.com/how_20735050_pick-roommate.html, how to pick a roommate. saycollegemove.com. studenthousing.suite101.com. searchcollegehousing.com, off-campus housing options for students, faculty, and staff. azstudenthousing.com, Arizona. e-referencesca.com/education/student-acommo.ians. gooffcampus.com. housingforstudents.com. offcampushousing101.com. studenthomesearch.com. studenthousing.com. studenthousing.org. studenthousing-solutions.com. yoursforrent.com. college accommodations/college housing. Some colleges offer year-round accommodations for visitors for a few days, but most only offer them during the summer months. If you're in any town with colleges, look up the housing office in the phone book, call and ask if they have overnight accommodations for several nights. A lot of British colleges offer this service. e-referencesca.com/education/student-acommo.ians. journeywoman.com/new-file/university_acommo.ians.htm. stayoncampus.com. gladstone.uoregon.edu/care/accommodations.html. calvin.edu/print/faq.html, 526-7200. auc-newc.ca/campus/summeracc.html, summer. e-referencesca.com/education/student-acommo.ians. collegeigloo.com, find cool housing around campus. Campus holidays. 800-526-2915. Low-cost homestay and college accommodations in England. campus-lodging.com. 800-525-6633. Book. Campus Travel Service. 800-525-6633. campustravel.co.uk. They sell a book which lists 700 colleges and universities that offer inexpensive overnight lodging. Peterson's Catalog. 800-338-3282. petersons.com. The directory of college accommodations which covers 200 universities that offer inexpensive lodgings to people. Chapter 4. A Relocation Moving Guide. Moving your stuff 1. The best way to move is to do it yourself with family and friends helping you. Simply rent a truck or borrow one. U-Haul rents out trucks. If you need a mover, there are two basic classes. The big, national movers. Everybody else. Your best bet is to pick a reputable company up front. Stick with a national name over the other upstarts, some of whom think they can do what they want. Some states regulates movers. Check with local consumer groups. The American Moving and Storage Association, amconf.org, 703-683-7410 sponsors arbitration hearings between its members and complainants. Movers often quote you a price and then when they've got you packed up, tell you you're overweight or hold your goods hostage at the other end until you pay more. By law, if you pay 110% of the original quoted price, they have to give you your goods and take you to court for the rest of the money. After all the problems I've seen in investigative reports, especially with single women, my best advice is don't try to save a few bucks on a less-known mover. Pay for a major moving company to avoid the headache with all the sleazos. Any bum can start a moving company and many do. Two big tricks the sleazos do are the name thing and the box thing. The name thing is that a local company will take on a name similar to one of the big ones, thereby fooling prospective customers into thinking that they're dealing with the major company. The box thing is that movers should put only small things in boxes, not furniture or anything else reasonably big. The accepted tools of the trade are blankets and rubber bands. The mover wraps a blanket over the piece of furniture or whatever, then puts big rubber bands over it, something like bike tubes. So if your mover is not using these tools but seems to be obsessed with packing everything in boxes, even furniture, you know he's scamming you for the surcharge per box. People have reported packing surcharges of over $1,000 just for a normal house's belongings. Make sure the company is adequately insured. Get it in writing. Movers will give you an estimate over the phone, then after the truck is loaded, they'll typically add a few $100s to the bill and you're stuck. Contact the Better Business Bureau, bbb.org, about the companies you're interested in, asking about their records of complaints, and visit the company buildings to see how professional they are. Go for 3 written estimates from different companies. If they don't come out and check your stuff, they could be a little shady. Accept only a written estimate and pay only a little up front. Request that the estimate be binding as the final price. You can save lots of money by doing your own packing. First off, look at it as a new beginning and throw away all your junk or give it to charity. Pack everything in boxes and move everything near the front door so they just come and take it all away already packed. Movers charge a lot for their boxes. Just go to supermarkets and liquor stores and get some for free. Keep a record of exactly what they load, give a copy to the lead mover before they load it and get him to sign it. Number your boxes with a big black marker. Even itemize the contents of every box. Movers charge by weight. They weigh the truck before and after the load, so watch to see that they don't overinflate the weight of your possessions by too much. The way to do this is to locate a weigh station near your destination and ask to go there with the driver for a reweigh when he arrives. The weigh station may charge you about $20. You'll have to pay about $20 to the weigh station for the weigh, but if the weight is way off, you could end up saving hundreds. If there are several guys working a job and it's a long distance move, they may routinely rummage through the stuff before the driver arrives to transport it. They know they won't get caught because there are several different people handling your stuff for the duration of the trip. One time, everything arrived for me except 2 stereo speakers. It took over 3 months and lots of pressure on the company before I got my $350 back. Somebody just helped themselves to them. Keep the valuables and transport them yourself. The mover is legally bound to deliver by his projected delivery date, and if you experience discomfort as the result of a late delivery, you should be able to recover for damages, even in court if you have to, unless the mover can prove that it was something beyond his control. Get the mover to unload the boxes in the proper rooms. As soon as the goods are unloaded, check to see that it's all there and check to see if anything is broken. If so, file a claim with the company immediately. Legally, you have 9 months to file. If they blow you off, contact the BBB for help. They'll try to mediate the case, and if they can't solve it, go to the American Movers Conference for arbitration. Movers have different liability plans, some better than others. The free deal is recovery based on the weight of the loss, about 60 cents per pound. They may offer to sell you an added value protection plan for recovery based on the depreciated value of lost or broken items, or a full value plan based on full recovery of lost or damaged items. Intra-state moving is the worst of all because a lot of small-timers get into it. New York is especially bad. There was the story of one guy who refused to pay the final price, which was 3 times the estimate, so the movers just drove away with all his worldly possessions. The best bet of all is to rent a U-Haul or Ryder truck, get a few friends together, buy them some pizza and beer and do your own moving. The cheapest way to move long distance other than doing it yourself is to go to a freight forwarder. Look them up in the yellow pages. The deal is that you pack everything in cardboard boxes, drive to the company's terminal where they load it either into a container or in the back of a truck along with other cargo. They drive the stuff to another terminal near your destination point, you drive there and pick it up. It'll save you lots of money. There was another deal I saw advertised on TV, but I didn't get the company's name. They drop a container off at your house. You fill it up on your own. They come back, pick it up and either store it or move it for you. If you are a single woman, try to have a male friend come by because then the mover will be less inclined to snow you. Besides that, it's not safe for a woman to be in a house alone with several moving guys. Moving your stuff too. Pack your stuff up. Pack as though you're going to live in a log cabin. Throw everything you don't really need away. Don't be a pack rat or a nostalgia nut. Memories are in your head, not in cheap junk left over from your glory days. Either hire a real estate professional to sell your house or go on an FSBO website and list your house. A good agent will save you time and money in the process of selling your house. Book the movers. You can choose to have the movers pack everything, just a few things, or you can pack everything yourself. Pick a legitimate big company, not some fly-by-night from an ad out of the paper. Obtain estimates from several different companies. Arrange to have gas, water, phone, cable, and electric meters cut off. If you rent, give written notice to the landlord and make arrangements for the return of the security deposit. Get a change of address cards from the post office. Cancel contracted services like regular lawn care and pre-authorized checks like for cable TV. Cancel home insurance, gardening services, dry cleaning service, newspapers, magazines, etc. Transfer bank accounts and securities to branches where you'll be living. Transfer medical, dental, prescription and optical records to your new medical professionals' offices. Change car registration and insurance. Make arrangements for the moving of pets. Get rid of flammable liquids. It is illegal for movers to move them. Some things to consider when moving are: close accounts, change banks. Notify insurance companies of your new address. Change utilities. Pay the old bill so it doesn't screw up your credit record. Get medical records from your doctor, dental records from the dentist. Give or throw away all your trivial stuff. Disconnect utilities. Get car tuned up. Dispose of flammables. Take care of the phone. Get sleeping pills for pets. Make transport arrangements. Clean the fridge. Give friends your new address. Cut off any home deliveries like milk or newspapers. Fill out the appropriate change of address forms with the Postal Service. Fill out post office change of address forms. Use up as much food as possible before you move. Change automobile registration. Keep pets locked up in the new house for a few days. You might have to change your will. Check up on state income taxes. When you're settled in, register your kid at the new school. If moving is related to work, you can deduct the expenses from your income tax. When you move, call the local Chamber of Commerce or Social Service Agency and ask if they have a telephone directory and information about your new town. Many towns have a welcome hostess who brings you free gifts and a coupon book sponsored by the local merchants. Try valuepack.com. Go to your library for general information about your new town. Try the YMCA to meet new people. YMCAs have daycare facilities. Have a housewarming party. Invite your new neighbors. Some people get lonely. Join the church or a club. If moving overseas, contact the Center of Disease Control, cdc.gov, find out what immunizations you should get and get them. Don't act too American, blend in with the natives. Show respect by trying to learn their language. If you're a student, buy cheap furniture or use boxes. Don't rent furniture. It's a sucker deal. Packing stuff in luggage. The following general information applies to going on a trip as well as going to live somewhere for a few months or so, like going to college. Take as little as possible. I was almost shocked as I was thumbing through the book catalog at 10speed.com and saw 2 books dedicated to packing for a trip. The packing book, Secrets of the Carry-On Traveler, Judith Guilford. Hassle-Free Business Travel, A Blueprint for Planning, Packing and Plugging In, W.M.J. Mitchell. It's very simple. You don't need a book of fluff to tell you what to do. Pack as though you're gonna be carrying the stuff on your back for a long hike across the desert. A lot of people have this vision bound up in their heads of what they'll do on their trip, like read X number of books and wear a certain dress to dance the night away, but trips have a life of their own. They're about action in the moment. They never go the way you plan them to. You don't even need to pack much clothes. At the end of the day on my trips, I would often take the wash and wear shirt and pants I wore that day. I never brought more of 3 of any article of clothing on any trip, and wash them in the hotel shower. They would dry by the next day. In a word, pack as lightly as you can. Learn from me. I started off in my first few trips packing a bunch of stuff, but generally, the more experienced the traveler, the lighter their load. You're there to travel and experience life, not to recreate your home. My advice is to buy some of those knapsacks and kit bags backpackers use as their luggage. You can put a lock on a duffel bag so that airport baggage handlers don't snoop through your stuff. Think like a backpacker. Go to the backpacking websites in this book. They have to travel with all their stuff in hand, unlike the average tourist who goes from hotel room to hotel room by bus, air, train, or car. Use a small backpack/carry-on. If you don't have enough room to pack all your stuff, you'll be forced to eliminate the unnecessary. Take a messenger bag for daily travel. A backpack is much easier to carry around than luggage. In case it gets cold, bring a jacket. Bring 1 pair of running shoes, no formal shoes. Bring all-purpose campers, or camping, soap. You can buy what you need where you are. Travel is supposed to be fun, not about lugging stuff around. Packing light makes travel simple. The main things to pack are air tickets, cash, cell phone, credit and debit cards, international driver's license, maps, paperwork, visa, passport, phone card, photocopies of vital documents, travel guidebooks, travel insurance policy, traveler's checks. Here are some other things to pack. Alarm clock, backpack, batteries, books, camera equipment and film, cigarette lighter, clothes, compass, contact lens stuff glasses, contraceptives, cosmetics, day pack, earplugs, extra eyeglasses and hearing aids, first aid kit, if you're hiking, flashlight, fleece jacket, games, glasses, contact lenses, important phone numbers on a piece of paper or in a wireless gadget, jewelry, map of the area, medication, money belt, money, keep it in several different places, mosquito net, mosquito repellent, notebook or journal and pens, padlock and chain, pen and paper, penknife, personal stereo and CDs, Photocopies of your birth certificate and passport. Photograph of your luggage in case it gets lost. Photos, postcards of home. Rain gear, umbrella. Recreation stuff for the kids. Sarong. Sewing kit. Shampoo. Sheet, sleeping bag. Shoes. Shortwave radio. Sink plug. String. Sun hat. Sunglasses. Tampons. Toiletries. Toothbrush. Towel. Wallet. Watch. Water bottle. Water purifier or purification tablets. Waterproof money holder. Packing websites. catsa.acs.gc.ca, 888-294-2202, Air Transport Security Agency. ehow.com/how_208416one_pack-luggage.html, how to pack your luggage. princetonreview.com/college/articles/life/necessities.asp, comb the house and pack your bags, packing for college. Travelite.org. upl.codeq.info, Universal Packing List. onebag.com, how to travel light. packinglistonline.com. Moving scam. In most businesses, you might look for the little guy for the cheaper deal, but the big difference between moving and every other business is that the guy gets your stuff and can hold it hostage. In some other service like a home improvement job, you can just tell the guy to get lost. It doesn't work like that in the moving business, which is why it's the one business where I'll tell you to stay away from the little guy. Use only the well-established national movers. The scam quotient has gotten so bad that the good movers have asked the government to regulate them in order to separate the bad from the good. The deal now is that the American government, through the Department of Transportation, DOT.gov, regulates movers who do interstate moving, that is, move people across state lines, which means that anybody can put an ad in the paper posing as a mover, and as long as they do local, in-state moves, they're technically legal. But a lot of these guys are just straight out con artists. I'll say it one more time then leave it, use only a well-established big-time moving company. The deal is that beefs with moving companies is currently a civil and not a criminal matter, even if the mover is holding your stuff hostage for more money. The sleazo movers know this and will play just about everybody, knowing the cops won't do anything about it. Read the contract. Get an exact figure for the full fee in writing. If you don't agree to this price, don't sign the contract. If you agree, you have a written record of the highest fee they can charge. Even then, they still don't care. They get to your destination, say it cost them more money than expected, then tack $1,000 on your bill, then they charge you $20 a day for storage while you file civil suit. You can't win. The base moving insurance offered doesn't cover much. It's a flat rate per pound, so don't leave any valuables or delicate items with the mover that could break. Many companies add on costs with their packing process. Consider packing your belongings yourself and getting a quote only loading the stuff on and off, not an extra charge for actually packing the stuff, charging extra for boxes, tape, etc. The most common complaint is that they charge you extra from the original bill after they've got your goods hostage, and if you don't pay, they will charge a daily storage fee on your goods until you cough it up. Movingscam.com. Movingscam.com/blacklist.html, moving company blacklist. Avoid these moving companies. Moving interstate, across U.S. states. The American government, through the Department of Transportation, DOT.gov, regulates movers who do interstate moving, that is, move people across state lines. The Federal Department of Transportation, DOT.gov, 888.soft, regulates moving companies that operate between different states but not local ones that just operate within a state. A lot of the local movers don't follow the interstate law. They don't report themselves to the federal. If they're doing interstate moving. They do it until they get in trouble, then close the company down and open up a new one. Interstate movers are required to show an MC number in their advertising, which is from 3 to 6 digits long. If they claim to be an interstate mover, ask for their MC number, then check it on the dot.gov website, Licensing and Insurance Division. A lot of fly-by-nighters claim to be licensed as interstate movers, but if they don't have this number, they're lying. Call the local Chamber of Commerce to see if there are complaints against the mover. Go to bbb.org, where it only takes a few seconds to type the company name in to see if there are complaints against it. Interstate movers are legally bound to publish their rates and rules in a document called a tariff. Ask your interstate mover for a copy of the tariff. Movers do not have to provide estimates, however, if they don't give you one, don't do business with them. Get the estimate in writing. There are two types of estimates. 1. A binding estimate means that's the set price. 2. A non-binding estimate means it's an approximate price which will be adjusted, usually upward, later. If the final charges exceed the estimate, if you pay 110% of the estimate, the mover must deliver the goods and defer the balance you owe for 30 days. Ask what type of estimate it is and get it in writing. At the time of the estimate, the mover must give you a copy of the estimate, a copy of the brochure called Your Rights and Responsibilities When You Move, dispute settlement/arbitration information in case it comes to that, a telephone number for inquiries and complaints to the company, service order. At the pickup, they should give you a copy of the bill of lading/freight with the mover's name on it and an inventory of the goods. Upon delivery, you should receive a copy of the completed bill of lading/freight. If you have a problem, call either the .bbb or your local consumer protection agency. Chapter 5. A Relocation Moving Website Guide. Moving Advice Websites. protectyourmove.gov. Moving.com. Moving.com/movers/moving-company-quotes.asp, free quotes. offtocollege.com/collegemove, off to college guide to housing, dorm room and transportation needs. upac.com/moving-services/student.asp, ABF UPAC Moving, they deliver an empty trailer, you load, they drop it off, you unload. Penske-Truck-Rental.com/personal_rental/moving_guide/college.html, Penske, 1, 900 U.S. locations. Homefair.com/articles/moving-to-college.asp. Mayflower.com. Moving.org. MovingHomeChecklist.com. MoveCentral.com/address-central. Selfstorage.org, 703-921-9123. Move.com/guide, how-to guides. Towserver.net, 800-728-0133, Towing and Recovery Association of America. USPS.com/moversnet. Movingscam.com/forum. MoveReviews.com. Moving Websites 1. If you need more info, get the book Moving and Relocation Sourcebook by OmniGraphics.com. Uline.com, boxes, new, discount moving boxes. BoxQuest.net, boxes, used, buy or sell moving boxes locally online. Packrat.com, they bring container to your house, you fill it up, either store it or move it anywhere. RealEstateMovers.com. MoveMeto.com. AmconF.org, picking a mover, make moving easier. Homestay.com/move/tools/movingcalc.asp. MovingAdvocateTeam.com, complaints. Monstermoving.com/moving_and_planning/quotes, moving companies online quotes database. Movingscam.com. OneSwitch.com, changes the address for your magazine subscriptions. rightmove.co.uk. oneentry.com/moving_leads.jsp. Movetopia.com. moversq.com. doortodoor.com/moving. newyorkcmover.com, NYC. 123relocation.com, aimrelocation.com, City Profiles, avatar-moving.com, buyboxes.com, emove.com, erc.org, Employee Relocation Council, fosrelo.com, globalvanlines.com, helpyoumove.com, homestoe.com, insiders.com/relocation, justrentals.com/relocating, makethemove.com, moving websites too, monstermoving.com, move.com, movequest.com, movernay.com, moverquotes.com, moversguide.com, moviehouroffice.com, office relocation and leasing guide, moving.com, homefair.com, movingcenter.com, movingestimates.com, get free moving quotes from moving companies, movers, auto transport companies, self-storage and moving insurance, movingguide.org, movingtoaz.com/relocation/index.php, newcomersnetwork.com, pathfinder.com/money/department/real_estate/best places to live, powellguide.com/lakepowell/relocation.html, Lake Powell Relocation Guide, realestatejournal.com/toolkit/relocation tools, relocatetoarkansas.com, moving websites 3, rider.com, truck rental, sayrelocate.com, uhaul.com, truck rentals, usps.gov/moversnet, uvl.com, uvl.ca, United Van Lines, vanlines.com, virtualrelocation.com, welcomewagon.com, movinglady.com, pods.com, relojournal.com, rent.net, virtualrelocation.com, vtourist.com, usacitlink.com, cgi.money.cnn.com/tools/cost-of-living/cost-of-living.html, cost-of-living calculator, cnn.com, bankrate.com/brm/movecalc.asp, cost-of-living comparison calculator, chamberfind.com, salaryexpert.com, international salary calculator and cost of living, chamberofcommerce.com, cityrating.com/cost-of-living.asp, cityrating.com, citytowninfo.com, citytowninfo.com, bestplaces.net, Sperling's Best Places, County Map Point Digital Topomaps.com, U.S. county maps for all 50 states, careeronestop.org, business moving/corporate relocation websites. Corporate relocation services move either individuals or entire companies to other locales. 123movers.com/corporate_relocation/s office/default.html. a1firstclass.com. allmovingquotes.com/corporate_relocation. b2bre.com, business real estate directory. bishopsmove.net/business relocation/employee relocation.htm. cfmoving.com/corporate relocation. businessmoves.com, corporate relocation consultancy for UK and international businesses. businessmoving.com. business-moving.com/resource_management.htm. mayflower.com/moving/relocation services/relocation services.htm. moviehouroffice.com, office relocation and leasing guide. mymovingneeds.com/find_corporate_relocation.aspx. relocationcentral.com, 800-272-7863. teamrelocations.com. sterlingrelocation.com. cartist.com, global relocation and workforce development solutions. stevensworldwide.com. armstrongrelocation.com. relocationapartments.com. business.com/directory/trucking/moving_companies. unitedvanlines.com/mover/relocation services/relocation services.htm. Self-storage websites. Try your local phone book. Most moving companies have a storage service. If you live in a college town, there should be several storage companies around the campus. upickstorage.com, name your price. pods.com. cert.co.uk. cityselfstorage.com. estageragefacilities.net. onsitestorage.com. self.storage.alltheindustrials.com. self.storage.alltheservices.com. selfstorage.org, 703-921-9123. sureguard.com, self-storage facilities. thestoragecompany.net. yellowselfstorage.com. American Movers Conference. American Moving and Storage Association. moving.org. amconf.org. Self-Storage Association. 4141 Crossgate Drive. Cincinnati, Ohio 45236. 513-984-6468. selfsteorgage.org. Membership directory of 1,600 self-storage companies. City directory websites. Try the following website formula for any American city you're interested in. ci.name of city. 2 letter state abbrevation.us like ci.akron.oh.us or simply don't use the ci at front like akron.oh.us. For towns and villages, use community as the suffix like community.name of town or village. 2 letter state abbrevation.us like community.waterville.tx.us. local2me.org. Type in your zip code and you get all kinds of links to your part of town from shopping to friendship. 2chambers.com, list of chambers of commerce's USA. bucknell.edu/geosearch. chamber-of-commerce.com. simdae.com/sites.html. cities2k.om. cities.com. citydirectories.psmedia.com/index. cityguide.lycos.com. city.com. city.net. city.net/region/north_America. city.net/countries. city.net/countries/United_States. city.net/countries/United States/ insert full name of any state in here. citypass.net, buy a city pass for attractions in major American cities. citysearch.com. city.net/destinations. citiespin.com, 800-275-5895. citiesurf.com. cityview.com. clickcity.com/index2.htm, Chamber of Commerce directory. clickcitytravel.com. culturefinder.com. digitalcity.com. divein.com. locality.com. local.yahoo.com. mapquest.com. realcities.com. sidewalk.com. stanford.edu/geosearch. starcitysearch.com. superpages.com. timeout.cm. todi.com. townonline.com. vindigo.com. travelocity.com. usacitlink.com. uschamber.com, U.S. Chamber of Commerce. vtourist.com/vt. welcome.to. worldexecutive.com/cityguides. Environmental maps. These are maps that show environmental hazards geographically, like toxic waste dumps or other environmental problems. epa.gov/enviro. fema.gov/individual/home.shtm, flood maps, disaster info. hud.gov/emaps, environmental maps. Vehicle transport/driving free. These are auto transport companies who transport vehicles for people on the backs of tractor trailers for a fee. Some of these auto transport companies also use drivers to drive their vehicles cross-country, so if you have a license, don't have a criminal record and put up a small deposit, they will give you a vehicle to drive cross-country or to your particular destination for free. They'll probably fingerprint you. There are many automobile transporting companies listed in the phone book. I really haven't ventured to take the initiative to call them and ask whether they accept civilian drivers, however, these ones actively advertise for civilian drivers. Another approach is to call a car rental company and ask for the car control department, then ask if there are any deadhead or non-rev cars going to a particular city. These are cars that need to back to where they came from. This approach might not work, but it's worth a try. Driveaway.com. 1AAmotorcycles.com, motorcycle transport company. 123movers.com. AAAT.com. AARDVRcauto.com, 888-866-4020. AmericanaAutoTransportCompany.com. ASWD.com, 800-338-8850. O2andTruckShippers.com, 888-577-5400, Truck Transport Co., ships trucks. AutoDriveaway.com, 800-621-4155. AutoTransporter.com. AutovanRVDelivery.com, 574-534-4250. BlueHighways.net, 800-622-6601. BTransport.com. CarMovingGuide.com. DasAutoshippers.com. DependableAutoshippers.com. EagleOnExpress.com, 209-483-8925. EnclosedVehicleTransport.com, 888-827-6799. EasyAutoshipping.com. FindAHauler.com. HorselessGarage.com, 800-631-7796. MoveCars.com. NewmanInternational.com, 813-221-5000. PassportTransport.com, 800-325-4267. ShipCarDirect.com. ShipMyVehicle.com, 877-512-2227. SundayAutoTransport.com, 717-697-0939. Transspecialists.com, 626-968-4904, Truck Transport Service, ship trucks. Transportautos.com/driveaway, 800-677-6686. Transport.industrial101.com. choicemall.com/shipaycar. 888-274-4722. Auto Driveway Co. 800-346-2277. AutoDriveaway.com. California. Los Angeles. 213-666-6100. AutoDriveAisla.com. Chapter 6. A Moving Company Guide. Moving Company Websites 1. movingscam.com/blacklist.html, Moving Company Blacklist. Avoid these moving companies. allmovingquotes.com. opinions.com/moving_companies. escapeartist.com. expiatica.com. movers411.com. moversdirectory.com/companieslist.html. moving.com/moving_planning/quote/index.asp, mover quotes, get an estimate from a variety of different movers. Moving.org, American Moving and Storage Association. movinguide.com. themovingyellowpages.com. topmovingcompany4u.com. upack.com, upack, we drive, you save. American Movers Conference. Moving.org. amconf.org. American Movers Conference. Dispute Settlement Program. 1611 Duke Street, Alexandria, Virginia 22314. 703-683-7410. amconf.org. Many free booklets about moving will take your complaints and try to resolve problems with moving companies. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, Office of Motor Carriers, 4000 7th Street Southwest, Washington, D.C. 20590. 800-424-9312. 202-266-0665. fy.dot.gov. Ask if an interstate mover is licensed, etc. Allied Van Lines. AlliedVan.com. Free booklet, Guide to a Good Move. Moving company websites too. BestChoiceMoving.com. AlliedVan.com. AtlasVanLines.com. Beacons.com, Moving Co. ChipmanCorp.com. GlobalVanLines.com. Mayflower.com. SureGuard.com, Self-Storage Facilities. Atlas Van Lines. 1212 St. George RD. Evansville, Indiana 47703. 812-424-4326. Fax, 812-421-7125. AtlasVanLines.com. Free moving booklets. Mayflower Movers. Indianapolis, Indiana 46206. Mayflower.com. Free moving booklets. United Van Lines. 1 United Drive, Fenton, MO 630026. 800-325-3870. uvl.com. uvl.ca, Canada. Free moving booklets. Relocation services, relocation agents. There are relocation companies and consultants that hire their services out to individuals and companies who send their workers to postings in other areas. If you're an individual moving somewhere, you can hire one of these people to help you move. They do everything from hiring a mover to taking care of most of the paperwork and even get visas if the customer is moving to another country. They'll find a house or an apartment for you to rent or buy. There are also relocation professionals who work in the human resources or accounting department of large companies to help employees who are posted elsewhere move. Most have some college education, usually a business degree. For employees moving overseas, the relocation administrator must often calculate a moving allowance and factor in bonuses to the paycheck because many companies add bonuses to employees working overseas. There might be a housing allowance too. They have to make travel arrangements. They often have to pay for the travel of the employee's entire family. They might have to pay for the private schooling of the employee's children. ActiveRan.com, critical of relocation consultants because they refer you to their friends to sell you everything you need who give them a kickback. RelocationAgents.com. RHSTempHousing.com, a national provider of extended stay, corporate housing services and emergency housing services. CorporateCare.ie, a relocation service based in Cork, Ireland. WhoWFrancis.com. CrystalZellsDenver.com, Denver. Relo-Experts.com, Nevada. RelocationCentral.com. Relocation-Guide.net. RelocationGuideOnline.com. RelocationHelpDesk.com, Raleigh, NC. ReloGuide.net. ReloJournal.com, Relocating. MovingToAZ.com/relocation/index.php. LibertyRelocationDivision.com, 800-296-1802, Nevada. Kudzu.com/guide.jsp, guide name equals relocating.html, Atlanta, Georgia. Relocation Services. Insiders.com/relocation. MoveMeto.com. ERC.org, Employee Relocation Council, many real estate links. Euro-relocation.com, relocation agents. FirstLineRelocation.com, helps you move. TheMyGroup.com, global relocation services. Chapter 7. A World Moving and Rental Guide. World Moving Websites. AAFSW.org, Associates of the American Foreign Service Worldwide. This organization's website includes many helpful articles and links for expatriates outside the U.S. Foreign Service. Oanda.com/converter/classic, classic currency converter. Escapeartist.com. State.gov/s/cpr/rls, foreign embassy information, lists foreign consular offices in the United States and has the website and email addresses of embassies. Moving.com/IRC, moving, international. Transitionsabroad.com. Travel.state.gov/travel/living/living_1243.html, U.S. State Department services and information for American citizens abroad. Worldclimate.com. 123movers.com/international_movers/s international/default.html, get free quotes from international movers. Escapeartist.com/expatriate/resources.htm. Fidai.com, network of worldwide moving companies. Moverlist.net. Movermax.com. Moverquotes.com. Moving.com. Movingcenter.com. Home rentals/vacation home rentals. 411-realestate.com. A1vacations.com, vacation rentals. AllStarVacationHomes.com, Florida. AllStarVH.com, Orlando. Bahamas-honeymoon.com. BizelTrading.com. Costa-Blanca.villa-vacation.com. Craigslist.org. Cyberrentals.com. FindRentals.com. GreatRentals.com. GulfCoastRentals.com, Florida. HolidayHominet.com, Europe, Britain. Holiday-home-pages.co.uk. HomeRentalads.com. HomeRentalConnections.com, Paris and London. HomeRentals.net. HomesForRent.net. HouseboatRentalCenter.com. MarcoDeals.com, Marco Island Vacation Rental Home. Marco Island Florida Vacation Rentals.com. Orbitz.com. PerfectPlaces.com. PlacesForRent.com. RealEstateMatchService.com. Rent.com. Rent.net. RentalHomesPlus.com. RentalHouses.com. Rentals.com. RentCanada.com. RentClicks.com. RentLaw.com. RentNet.com. RentWave.com. ReservationsDirect.com. TamiaWayRentals.com. ToSublet.com. VacaNCilist.com. VacaNCinet.com. VacationHomeRentals.com. VacationRentals411.com. Villa-Vacation.com. VRBO.com, Vacation Rentals by Owner. ZipVacations.com. British Rental. Flatmateclick.co.uk. Canadian Moving Info. Mover.net, Canadian Association of Movers. MoveIt.ca. Canadian-movers.ca. AllaboutMoving.ca. ArtoFmoving.com. AtlasVanlines.ca. HouseholdMovers.ca. MovingTo.com. PremierVanlines.com. Relocate-Canada.com. RelocateCanada.com, info@relocatecanada.com. Canadian rental websites. OntarioTenants.ca. CBMRE.ca, Coldwell Banker Management. Apart-Zone.com, a searchable database of apartments and condos for rent in major cities in Quebec. Places2rent.ca. BCApartmentowners.com, BC Apartment Owners and Managers Association. RentBC.com. Landlordlaw.ca. bcapartmentbuildings.com. CanadianHomesForRent.com. cmhc.gc.ca/n/barejo/reo/index.cfm, your guide to renting a home. EasyRent.ca. Viewit.ca. Provincial Rental Offices. Alberta Rental/Tenancy Laws. Alberta Government Services. Edmonton. 780-427-4088. 877-427-4088. gov.ab.ca/gs/information/landlord. servicealberta.gov.ab.ca. landlordandtenant.org. British Columbia Rental/Tenancy Laws. Residential Tenancies Office, Ministry of Public Safety and the Solicitor General. rto.gov.bc.ca. Greater Vancouver Area. 604-660-3456. Rest of the Province. 800-665-8779. Manitoba Rental/Tenancy Laws. Government of Manitoba. gov.mb.ca/splash.html. Residential Tenancies Branch. gov.mb.ca/finance/cca/rtb/gbook/toc.html. Manitoba Residential Tenancies Branch. 302 to 254 Edmonton Street. Winnipeg, Manitoba R3C3Y4. 204-945-2476. 800-782-8403. Residential tenancies.mb.ca. Nunavut Rental/Tenancy Laws. gov.nu.ca. 877-279-2331. 867-975-7291. New Brunswick Rental/Tenancy Laws. gnb.ca. gnb.ca/ax/r-10-2.htm. gnb.ca/0062. Fredericton. 506-453-2557. St. John. 506-658-2512. Moncton. 506-856-2330. Bathurst. 506-547-2162. Campbellton. 506-789-2362. Edmundston. 506-735-2096. Newfoundland and Labrador Rental/Tenancy Laws. governmentnl.ca, gov.nf.ca/cca/tp/residential tenancies. 877-829-2608. 709-729-2608, 2610 and 5829. St. John's. 709-256-1019, Gander and area. 709-637-2445, Corner Brook and area. Apartmentsnl.com. stjohnsapartments.com. Northwest Territories Rental/Tenancy Laws. justice.gov.nt.ca/rentaloffice/rentalofficer.htm. 800-661-0760. 867-920-8047. Nova Scotia Rental/Tenancy Laws. 800-670-4357. 902-424-5200. gov.ns.ca/snsmr/consumer/arreston. gov.ns.ca/legI/leg-C/SDAHTV04-146/H05822/resident.htm. Prince Edward Island. Office of the Director of Residential Rental Property. 800-501-6268. Fax, 902-566-4076. irac.pe.ca/rental. Quebec. rdl.gov.qc.ca. Association of Housing Committees and Tenants Associations. 800-683-2245. rcllq.qc.ca. Quebec City. 418-643-2245. Montreal. 514-873-2245. Ontario Rental/Tenancy Laws. ltb.gov.on.ca. Ontario Rental Housing Tribunal. 888-332-3234. orht.gov.on.ca/script/index_.asp. Saskatchewan. justice.gov.sk.ca/Office of Resident EIALTE Nancy's. justice.gov.sk.ca/PROV-MEDIATION/rentals. man/default.shtml. Office of the Rentalsman/Provincial Mediation Board. 888-215-2222. 306-787-2699, Regina. 306-933-5680, Saskatoon. Yukon Rental/Tenancy Laws. community.gov.yk.ca/consumer/landtact.html.